fucking lighting, yo. It keeps like turning red. I already filmed half a video without the microphone turned on. Look, I'm blue again. I don't know. Today I wanted to talk about things you can do in the city with a new baby. It can be very isolating to have a new child. It can feel like the city wasn't built for them. A lot of people in this city do a lot of drinking. A lot of people in this country and this world do a lot of drinking. There's maybe classes that you found that cost $400 for a package, drop-in rates of $40, unaffordable and thus unacceptable. Unless you're in like that top 5% of people, which a lot of people in New York are. More than 5% of New York is in the top 5% of the country. I'm sure about that. If you're not, if you're like me and you have to live on a budget, paying $400 for infant music class is asinine. How I truly feel. I like to get Linus out. He's curious. Social for someone his age, I think. He likes to see new environments. He likes external stimuli. You can go stir crazy if you're just inside all day. No. A lot of what we do is donation based. We aren't afraid to take public transit. Oh, what if my child gets sick? There's so many people on there. I asked the pediatrician at his 1 week weight check. Say that 10 times fast. She was like, listen, sick people coughing and sneezing on your child is what's going to make your child sick. Don't get on the trains during rush hour when they're jam-packed and people are going to be breathing on him. If you want to walk around a museum for an hour when most people are at work, that's fine. And so far, he hasn't been sick. He's almost 3 months old. He'll be 3 months old by the time this posts. The first thing I want to discuss is the New York City Public Library System. There's over 92 locations. It's the third biggest library system in the world. So chances are if you live in the Bronx, Manhattan, or Staten Island, there is a branch accessible to you. Brooklyn and Queens have their own library system. I'm sure that's big and expansive as well. I just don't know anything about it. We go to 2 different libraries. We go to one for playtime and one for story time. I like to have him at different locations so he can see different people, see different things. Also, the library we go to for playtime is probably like a 13-minute walk. The one we go to for story time is like 5 minutes away. Go on the New York Public Library website and search by borough and children's events. I would recommend narrowing the filter to the library in your neighborhood. If there's multiple libraries close to you, you can do the search multiple times, and filtering for specifically 0 to 18 months. You don't want to accidentally show up at an event that they don't expect fussy infants to be at. I love. The very first place we went on the subway was to something called the Babies Project. We found out about it from a friend who has a baby who's about a year older than Linus. He described it as baby yoga. It's baby movement classes, infant developmental movement educators that have semi-private developmental sessions, and if you can afford it, I would encourage it to get near one-on-one attention from them. But we go to the open movement sessions because they're donation based. The suggested donation is $20. Usually we give $10 a session. Your child just thinks they're playing and interacting with other babies. Balls, scarves, a lot of other toys that Linus is still too little to play with. Babies everywhere. I've been there when there's only been 4 babies. I've been there when there's been 10 or 12 babies. Fun for your baby who gets to interact with the world around them. You get to speak with someone about the ways in which they're interacting with the world. Is this the best for their development? For example, Linus used to only like to look to his left. I asked one of the women there about it, and she was able to discern pretty quickly that it wasn't just his neck, it was like a whole arm, neck, head thing. Told me just kind of to hold him with his left arm more across his body to help him start looking in both directions. Now we're working on his midline though. I'm actually not supposed to be holding him this way. They encourage you to only hold your baby in baby ball.
Pop it, it's a puddle.
basically just tucking them inwards to themselves as much as possible. Linus wants to be a bridge. He's supposed to be a ball. So we kind of compromise and just try to keep him straight. Hold him in a little ball as much as he lets me without freaking out. They have open sessions for babies and for toddlers. They have seen babies as young as 2 weeks old. They get diaper free time. There's an underwear. You go through like 5 pairs of underwear a session. I'll link everything below. You have to sign up for the classes. They only allow a couple first timers per session, so they make sure they have time to interact with you. The next thing that I think some people are afraid to take advantage of with a newborn is the museums in the city. So many of the museums offer free times or pay what you wish times, monthly or weekly. The Met and the Natural History Museum offer them every single day if you're a New York State resident and have your ID. Linus has only been on like 10-minute long subway rides. A lot of the museums I do hope to take him to eventually he hasn't been to, including the Met and the Natural History Museum. The MoMA has pay what you wish or free on Friday. The Hall of Science. The Brooklyn Children's Museum has them Thursdays and Sundays. Oh, little bunnies. Do you want to go down? You want to play on the floor? So in walking distance from us, there's the new museum, pay what you wish on Thursday nights. I believe they suggest 3 to 5. I don't know. We gave them 3. The museum on Eldridge Street, the Museum of Chinese in America or whatever it's called, has free days like once a month. There's also a couple museums that Linus should be a little bit older before we attend. Children's Museum, which is downtown on the west side, and Spark, which is a part of the Brooklyn's Children's Museum, but is much closer to us. It's in Dumbo. They are specifically designed for kids to interact with art. They start recommending kids can come at 10 months and 6 months, respectively. Both have free hours on Thursday afternoons. Even if it's not specifically designed for children, there's plenty for them to see and hear and take in. Everything is new to them. One thing that if you have a spring or a fall baby, you can start doing immediately that Linus and I have only been able to do once so far is hang out at a park. New York City is full of parks. We had a 70-degree day once so far, thank God. I wanted to take Linus to the parks to let him learn about grass, but the grassy knolls were still locked up for the season. If you live near a playground that's been renovated, it has that flooring that isn't concrete. I don't know what it is. It's much softer than concrete. It's not like wood chips or pebbles. Semi-bouncy, looks to be a little bit porous floor. When we went to the park, I just laid the blanket on that floor instead of in the grass. I want him around other kids and other people in general. I don't want him to be like weird and antisocial. That's not the right meaning of the word antisocial. Sociopath killers, which is actually what antisocial means. I want him to be unafraid to interact with his environment, unafraid to interact with people. My husband grew up in the same neighborhood when it was a dangerous place to live. Has been gentrified, for better or for worse. I want him to be able to take advantage of those foundational years, being able to interact with people all around him. It's really never too early to take your kid for some fresh-ish air. It's not like fresh air like the country. The most expensive thing that Linus and I do is a Mommy and Me Pilates class at the 14th Street Y. I bet you there are community centers near you that also have Mommy and Me classes. They do charge $25 a class, or you can get a punch card, $100 for 5 classes, so it brings it down to $20 a class. Some people that would be unaffordable, so I'm sorry to include this in the video if you're one of those people. For me, it's worth it. I don't like to leave him, and I do need to exercise. The babies, they can interact with each other. The teacher at my class does try to incorporate them into it a little bit. Like we'll do, I lost the word, squats with the baby, so we're bouncing the baby, or have us like kiss them when we're doing push-ups. They also have bar, just fitness, breastfeeding support groups. The punch card is good for any of those things. We just go to Pilates because the other days of the week he already has activities to do, and I'm not trying to spend $40 a week on exercise. I usually go to yoga by myself once a week at a donation-based studio, I do leave Linus for like an hour and a half a week. And the last thing that I wanted to bring to your attention as something your baby may like to do, they may hate it, religious services. Linus has been going to church since he was like, I guess 12 days old. Now that he's a little bit older and it's a little bit warmer out, we often go to a couple masses during the week as well. So I would say he's been to like 20 masses, only freaked out and had like a fussy fit in one of the 20. There's a lot of things for him to look at. Statues, paintings, people, ceiling is beautiful. Singing throughout. Linus loves music, as I think most babies do. In a Christian liturgical ceremony.
The best of all the religions, really, because we have the most rules and the best clothes.
There's going to be songs sprinkled throughout the service. There's changes in perspective. He's standing, he's sitting, there's a little bit of walking around. So if you're part of a religious tradition that has either really ornate buildings or music throughout, don't be afraid to bring your child to them. Even if you're not part of a religious tradition, religious services are free. They do pass a collection plate in Christian services. You don't have to feel obligated to give, especially if you're not a member of the congregation. So those are 6 different ideas. Religious services, entirely free. Public library is going to have multiple events completely free. They aren't even going to pass a collection plate. Museums, you just got to find the right time to go. Parks, which may seem obvious to you, bring a blanket with you. Mommy and me classes, maybe not outside of your budget. You may also be able to find some donation-based ones. There's not any near me that I could find, but check out your own neighborhood. Baby movement classes, once again, I'm going to link below. Those are donation-based. Linus needs me. One day he went to the library, grocery shopping, mass, and the new museum all in the same day. To him, a grocery store and a museum is kind of like the same difference. I don't take him somewhere every day because I just need a break. We love you, YouTube. Say smash that like button. Oh, I want to be a bridge. I'm supposed to be a ball. I'm supposed to be a little ball like this. Subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. Smash that like button. I don't know.